is the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS show with John Impemba and James Grande.
What is up, everybody? Happy freaking Monday, and welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS live stream. I am James Grande. No, that is not John Impemba, like the intro video said. That is Keith Eister. Keith is, you know him around here. He is the best. The best. I'll just say you're the best. You're great at what you do, and we appreciate everything you do for Fantasy Alarm. You can find Keith on the old Twitter machine. And Keith, you could just find Keith all over the fantasy space, all over the prop space. Everywhere you go, you're probably going to run into Keith's work. So follow everything Keith does. He's the man. You can find all his work at Fantasy Alarm as well. Keith, what's going on, brother? Happy Monday.
Appreciate that intro. Happy Monday. First NBA show of the year here at Fantasy Alarm for me. So excited to be on. We are in the full swing of NBA. Injuries are already piling up. We've got all kinds of moving parts already. So that's what we love about the NBA. Nice little 8-gamer I think it is tonight. I don't know. I've been all over the place writing about Monday Night Football and everything else, but fully dialed into the NBA slate now. It's crunch time. Let's go ahead and get after it.
Yeah, 8 games on DraftKings, 9 on FanDuel because they never will agree on anything. Although last week they did. I don't know if they had a handshake agreement on one of those.
It was Friday that shocked me. It was the NBA Cup slate. They both left off the late game.
That is true. They did. Yep. They cut off the late slate. I think I spammed it. It was like 8 a.m. I was messaging John like, John, we have an agreement. Yeah, we have we're not going to get into what DraftKings is doing on these smaller slates and not like the Sunday slate was 4. It could have been 6. Like we don't need to talk. That's a travesty, but we have 8 games tonight. As you mentioned, everyone's injured. I mean, look at the screen. If you look at the DraftKings slate, 6 of the first 12 guys have an injury designation. Nothing new in the NBA. You growed it. It just kind of is what it is. I get it. It's the rigors of the season, right? Like it's an 82-game season, bigger, faster, stronger athletes than we've ever had before. A lot of fun on tonight's slate. Injuries aside, a lot of back-to-backs, a lot of interesting spots. We have, I think, the largest total. I shouldn't say I think. We have the largest total on the board this year to date in the Cleveland-Miami game, 246.5 implied points currently. So we have a lot to get into. Letting the fans, letting the family roll in a little bit. Luis was in here early. He said early seat for the best show on the net. Luis, greatly appreciate it. I know that, that's a very high expectations, but we appreciate the kind words. That's amazing. I see through you. Oh, Fantasy Alarm, from day one. Hello all. Happy Monday. Happy Monday to you as well. Warren, hey. Warren's just always popping in saying, hey. Then he's popping out. Then he's going to give us some hot takes later. Excited for that. And then Roly Poly eating popcorn. I don't know about that. Hopefully you've had dinner already. Dinner, then popcorn. I will not, but this is also, teaching as a parent, teaching the kids like, okay, dinner first, snacks later. So anyways, Keith, enough rambling. Positional breakdown per usual. If you're new, hit the like button. If you're new, subscribe to the channel. We go live Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern. Every day, there's a slate, except the showdown slates. No one has time for that. Pre-show in the night before. You can watch then. You can watch in the morning when you're having your coffee, all that good stuff. Carlucci in the chat with his mohawk. Just not going to live that down. Honestly, I'm going to bully him into changing his picture, or he is just going to forever be like, F that guy. I'm not changing my picture. One of the two, right? We're taking a stand on one of them. All right, let's get into the breakdown, Keith. We'll start at point guard per usual. Very loaded at the top of point guard. Luka, Cade, Giddey, Booker, and we'll stop there, right? Okay. I'm gonna reshift your mind here because you and I are different DFS players. You're MME. I'm typically single entry. That's where we both live. How would you break these four down in smaller fields? Because you can just sit here and say, yeah, hell yeah, I'd play all of them because they're great. How would you assess this tier in smaller fields?
Yeah, it's a absolutely loaded tier. It's tough to get to all the way up to Luka. I will just start there.
Okay.
Like we may have some more value open up. If Giddey ends up getting rolled out, then obviously Trey Jones would be a smash. There'd be all kinds of value for the Bulls. Dosunmu's like that could be a big thing. So there's still plenty of value that could open up. But currently, as we sit, with assuming questionable guys in, it's pretty tough to get up to Luka. You also have the possibility that Austin Reeves is coming back. Not that it matters.
Upgraded the probable, so likely playing.
Coming back. He could still drop 80 fantasy points alongside.
Yes.
Like it just what this dude's doing this season is just beyond incredible. Super motivated, all kinds of great reporting in the offseason about his workouts and how he's dedicated to getting into the best shape of his life, and he's come out and played the best basketball of his life. So the matchup against Charlotte is fantastic. Charlotte is playing really fast. You're concerned about a blowout, maybe potentially. Luka's fantastic.
They lost outright. They got blown out of the gym against a Hawksless. The Hawks had their G League affiliate plus Dyson Daniels and Onyeka Okongwu and blew the doors off them.
True. Reeves back should help a little bit with that. Yes, but I get what you're saying. The Lakers, I mean, they've played really well at times, even without LeBron, but at times they look like
hard to predict blowout, Keith. Get back on the bandwagon with me.
I am totally on the bandwagon, but you do have to consider, like, Cade Cunningham right below him has had an amazing ceiling this season.
Yes.
He gets my favorite matchup in DFS because the Wizards do not play defense and they play extremely fast. They're like bottom 2 defense, top 3 pace.
Yeah.
It's like a DFS dream, a fantasy point dream. And Cade's been absolutely phenomenal. On top of that, Detroit is down at least 2 main bodies, and Asar Thompson and Karis LeVert are also questionable. So without Tobias, without Isaiah Stewart, it's hard not to want to click Cade as having as almost as good of a ceiling as Luka. Nobody's going to get to Luka's level, but Cade is pretty close to being there. Giddey basically goes for a triple-double every night, so that's pretty good too. And then Devin Booker has been down the last couple of games because Jalen Green's been playing, and now Jalen Green is out again. So he's had like a 33% usage rate this season without Jalen Green. All 4 of these guys are awesome, and you're going to make me pick one? That's a lot of talking to say. Man, I do not know. If you were going to force me.
Rank them then. Don't pick one, just rank them.
It's Luka and Cade at the top, and I'm going to go Cade slightly over Luka just for that matchup and the price savings. But it is razor thin. I would not fault anyone for saying Luka's a must play. And then Giddey with the questionable tag leaves a little bit of concern. Tough matchup against the Spurs for him, while Booker gets the Pelicans, who play 0 defense whatsoever. So Booker would be 3rd, Giddey 4th for me.
I'd probably rank them the same way. Obviously, with a case for Luka to be always the highest scorer of the slate. Yeah.
Yes.
The next tier is a little bit interesting, and we'll just group this mid-tier as a whole. There is one name that stands out to me, particularly on DraftKings. He said, quote, "I'm good at basketball," end quote, upon returning. What say you about this 7 and 6K range, Keith? Is there anything that stands out for you?
Yeah, I mean, the top is so good that it's hard to get here. There's plenty to like in the range. Drew Holiday kind of stands out as somebody who's taken on a massive role for Portland, has flashed big ceiling. Orlando is not as tough of a matchup. They're playing a little bit faster, Orlando is. So that looks pretty good. Good spot for Drew. I know it looks like an uncomfortable price, but you have to take Boston Drew and even Milwaukee Drew out of your line of thinking at this point. This is Portland Drew, and he's back to being the lead ball handler, the facilitator.
Nola Drew? Is this the Nola Drew?
Honestly, it has been. legit fantasy player for sure. Has always been good with the peripherals, and now he's got plenty of usage to work with as well. So I have been playing a ton of Drew, even as the price continues to climb. I will. The name that stood out to me, and you touched on him, the guy you're hinting at is De'Aaron Fox. They said he would not have a minutes restriction, and I was like, yeah, right. The dude hasn't played all year. It was a hamstring he was dealing with, I believe.
Yep.
Like, how's he going to come back and play 30 minutes on night one of his season? And that's exactly what he did, and he looked amazing doing it. The Bulls play at a very fast pace. They were good defensively to begin the season, but I don't think anybody was buying that. The Bulls defense is not good, and they play fast. So it's an awesome matchup for the Spurs. I'm right there with you. I love De'Aaron Fox today. Took the over on his points at 19.5. That's been bet up now. Like he looked amazing. You look at last season, and like a guy getting traded midseason, it's hard to integrate right away into the offense. I think that he's going to be the no doubt about it number 2 option in this offense, with usage like 25% plus potentially behind Wemby's 30, whatever. Like Castle's gonna have some. Vassell is obviously gonna shoot. Keldon off the bench will get some too, but I think Fox is just the clear number 2 option that we did not see that role from him last season.
Yeah, I mean, 26% usage in the first game, right? Like, super solid number. And let's not forget, this was the clutch player of the year 2 years ago. Like, this is a guy who in crunch time just takes games over. I mean, he like you said, 31 minutes in the debut, that's only ticking up. Like, there's undoubtedly a more higher minute ceiling here for De'Aaron Fox. He had no ownership this morning, and then I went to update it or look in the middle of the day. I was like, oh, right. People are also understanding that De'Aaron Fox is like possibly $2,100 too cheap, like at full capacity, or when he's there. There's no reason his price should be this low. So I am all in. I don't really care about the ownership. I'll differentiate elsewhere when there is this big of a gap, or in what should be a price and what it is. I'll just eat that ownership and go out. Like, I'll be different elsewhere. It's too good of a price to pass up on in this matchup. The only thing I guess I worry about is the Bulls' competitiveness if Giddey doesn't play. And that's kind of what Anthony's asking me right now. Anthony, what you don't know is you have 2 Bulls fans right now on the show. And we are both reeling from the Josh Giddey broken ankle that DeAndre Hunter did. And honestly, that move was so good. It was so good. And I hope Josh Giddey is okay. But boy, as a basketball fan, that was so cool.
It was, yeah.
But yeah, De'Aaron Fox, too cheap. Anything else, like, as we go down the list, or is it just like, nah? Like, Sexton is playing without LaMelo. I think things got a little worse for him when Bridges was upgraded to probable. Rollins is 63. Russell's 61. No thanks. DiVincenzo, no. Like, is the next name maybe McCollum? Only because CJ's dust. He's wiped off all the dust from his shoulders and is like, hey, I can ball still. Who needs a guard at the deadline, right?
Yeah, I mean, that might be what's going on here.
You could also just say no.
I don't know why
you could also just say no.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm buying it. I think there's some interesting young guys in Washington that are ultimately going to take the majority of the usage, and CJ's just going to play veteran role player. So I don't know if I'm buying what we've seen the last 2 games from him. Not that he can't do it. I just don't think that that's the stage of his career he's at this point. Maybe a couple of weeks before the deadline, then I can buy that narrative, but not quite yet. Davion Mitchell's been really good.
Agreed.
I mean, it's not a comfortable play. He doesn't get a ton of usage, but he's been facilitating really well. Has shown off a little bit of a ceiling here without Bam. So I don't hate that price if you just want something a little bit off the board in this range.
Yeah. Has looked really good. Him and Jaquez have basically, without Bam, been 1 and 2 in like all the passing categories: passes made, passes received, potential assists. Like they've dominated the most of all the passing and ball handling and all that stuff too. So I think Davion is very safe, a very safe cash game play, very fine in single entry. It's not exciting, but like we say this a lot. Sometimes you have to reconfigure the way that you think about players. Toronto Davion and previous iterations are not this version. He was good very good in last year's stint with Miami, and he's been very solid this year. So, leads them in assists, leads them in potentials. Really like Davion as a safe play. I think there's some interesting names in this next tier, and we could just kind of rapid fire them, whether you have interest or not. Okay, because there's a bunch, and then we'll finish in like below 5K. Obviously, Trey Jones' interest is probably contingent on Giddey. Yep. Interest on Trey Man or no?
I don't think so. I get it. Like he just had an amazing game.
Yeah, has a ceiling because he's a high usage player.
Yes. And we did see that before his injury last season more frequently. We haven't seen it this season until last game. So I understand the interest. There are just so many options at point guard that I don't know. He does have shooting guard eligibility, which helps you get to him a little bit more, but not my favorite play in the range. Fears, I think, is the guy that we haven't talked about that's kind of the standout potential ceiling play here of the range.
Yeah, and I think the potential word was the key phrase there because him and Alvarado are splitting 48 minutes right down the middle. They're not sharing. They're not overlapping. It's, I'm going to play this many minutes at point guard and you're going to play this many. And it just depends on which version of Jeremiah Fears you get that determines the outcome of the role, right? Like he has mostly been the guy who's dominated the minutes. And then you get this game where Jose Alvarado played out of his mind and Jeremiah Fears never came back in. Tournaments only, right? It's you cannot trust this in cash. It's very hard to very high usage player leads them in usage without Poole and Zion, but like there is the chance that Alvarado plays and Fears just doesn't.
Yeah, there's certainly risk. But at the same time, like you kind of lean into that in larger tournaments because if he plays 30 minutes, he's a fantastic play.
That if he plays 30 minutes, that would equal his usage rate without Jordan Poole and Zion Williamson.
That's pretty good.
That's a very good number. Yeah. For like a seasoned vet, not a rookie who, So we had I think it was from Warren showing Colin Gillespie some love here. There is no Jalen Green. He obviously plays a lot, played 25 minutes with Jalen Green, 26 minutes in a game that Green left. Another tournament only type of player.
Poor man's Fears, kind of.
Poor man's Fears.
He has shown ceiling at times this season. He's also has very volatile minutes where sometimes he runs out there for 28, sometimes he's out there for 20. Like if you run into the 28 game when he's playing well and he ends up with a double-double, then that looks outstanding. But I think it's hit or miss on whether that's going to happen.
Hit or miss indeed. Let's go below $5,000. Is there anything worth talking about in this tier?
Not for me currently, I don't think.
I think it would I'll just say this. I think it's probably, if you're going to pick something here, it's probably one of the Washington guys. Because I could see a scenario where they have, we've seen Trey Johnson start in each of the last two games. Koulibaly is out again. They also play Bub high 20s minutes regardless. So you could get to one of those guys.
Johnson is interesting, but he hasn't been as high usage in the starting lineup.
Good. It is. How's he supposed to get usage with dusty old CJ and Alex Sarr going crazy all the time?
So minute ceiling improves in the lineup, but the role in the starting lineup changes a little bit. At least that's what we've seen so far.
I will say too, if you are a blowout believer, he did close, almost close. He got taken out with like a minute left, but he played like the whole fourth quarter against Cleveland for what that's worth too. So just keep that in mind as well. Phoenix Reeves is asking about Lonzo. My problem with Lonzo is that they have specifically said they're limiting his minutes, and I know he got up to 27 here. But Garland played 28 last game. I don't know what the minute ceiling would be on Lonzo. What say you?
Yeah, I don't see the ceiling there either. I think the ceiling is like 26 at the very best, and I think the most likely outcome is like 22, 23. So yeah, just not enough ceiling there for me.
We'll get to Anthony Black, Mr. TD. He is a shooting guard, small forward on the DraftKings slate, so we'll get to him. Before we move on, we'll just go some comments here. John C. Billups, which is I'm assuming paying homage to Jonte Porter and Chauncey Billups. We'll get to your question in a few. None of those positions we've talked about. Anthony's talking about how Josh Giddey went to the hospital, almost. Marie Donyeezy, I'm not going to skip you. You love every time Keith is here. He doesn't. By the way, I just want you to know. I don't know how often you're watching our show. He only comments when you're here. I just want to let you know. That's a true.
Me and Donyeezy go way back, man. Way back.
I'm sure. No. I remember like your first couple. You and Carlucci's first couple shows. He was showing you guys love, and we had that talk. But he does not comment. I'm telling you, unless you are on the show. So. That's a true fan right there. Justin, also a Bulls fan. You would never know it with all the PJ Washington propaganda he spews every day, but he is a Bulls fan as well. Gabriel, we'll get to your Buzelis question when we get to next couple positions. There's a couple different answers probably there. Craig might go to the Bulls game tonight. That's fun. You should definitely go watch Victor Wembanyama play basketball. Any chance you ever get, you should definitely take that opportunity. Collier is back. Like, he is active. He did start last game. He did close last game. That is an interesting thing, but hard to trust anything Utah related. John, I'm assuming this is John. Shout out to John, who couldn't make it because he has no power. But he is in the chat saying 150 people watching. Let's get these likes up. It's only gone up since then. Smash the like button, people. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you for being so kind if you do that. All right, let's go to shooting guard. I cannot get enough of the top two names on this list. No. I have tried to build lineups that did not include Donovan Mitchell and Anthony Edwards, and I have not been able to do so today. They are two of my favorite per dollar plays anywhere on the board. Don't care the price. I want everything I can get here. I think for two reasons. One, obviously, one of them is in a game with 246 implied points, and their team has 125 implied points. That's a monster. I found this Minnesota-Utah spread to be incredibly interesting today. I don't know if you have a take there. It is 7.5.
40.
They won by like 40 the other day. And I'm just trying to I've tried to figure out why all day, and there's like nothing particular that stands out other than Utah is home and this is a back-to-back for Minnesota. I want all the Donovan Mitchell and all the Anthony Edwards.
This is exactly why I said it was hard to get to Luka today, because these two dudes are just in amazing spots. The highest total of the season that we have seen in a game so far for Donovan Mitchell. He's been amazing. He's got Garland back now to facilitate the offense. He can just go nuts with that 30% usage. It's hard to say a bad thing about him. Miami is playing at the fastest pace in the NBA, which is why the total is so high. Cleveland.
Yep. Minutes are way up too, by the way, for Donovan Mitchell.
Was sitting around like 32 per game. Now he's up to like 35, 36 per game. Yep. So, absolutely love Donovan Mitchell. I love Anthony. Like, if I'm ranking him, I got Anthony Edwards just slightly ahead. Even if it's a blowout,
Agreed.
that 40-point game, he scored 37 points, I believe it was, in 26 minutes. Dude has just been on another level this season. This is a player who has the talent to possibly be the best player in the league. So would it surprise anyone if he takes another step at how old is he? 21? I don't 20.
No, he's like 23, 24.
But still,
yeah.
Still very, very much within the development
Doesn't
curve,
matter.
And it wouldn't surprise anyone to see him take another step and just be like a 30-point per night guy. And that's what he's been so far. He's been like 34 points per night so far this season. Dealt with the hamstring injury, came back, had a rough one against the Knicks, and then has exploded in the last two. He should be $1,000 more expensive. He's just too cheap in this spot.
Dude, I don't get I am dumb. I was dumbfounded last night when we were on the show. I cannot believe the price. It doesn't make sense. There's no reason Anthony Edwards should be 8,600. Investigate something if he doesn't go off tonight. Something needs to be investigated because there's no reason he's $8,600. This isn't like you said. He's $1,000 too cheap. Everyone's playing Edwards. No one's playing Mitchell for what it's worth in tournaments, and it's obvious why. He's $8,600 and he's a $9,500 player. The next tier features Trey Murphy, Stephon Castle, Keontae George, Norman Powell. Then there's the 6K names that we'll talk about. Anything stand out? For me, it's Trey Murphy. What say you?
Where's Murphy's usage gone? I mean, we saw it again finally in the last game, but I mean, for a while there,
trending in the right direction.
Without Zion, he was just like an auto play. He would just be chucking without Zion. Yes. And then he was like 4 games there where he just wasn't shooting much. Maybe that's changed now, which would be fantastic because he did get up 22 shots in the last game. So I'm with you there. I like the ceiling there. Good matchup against a bad Phoenix defense. Nothing else really standing out. I can't play Castle with Fox there. I need to see what that looks like first. George has been really good. And Minnesota hasn't been as good defensively. But with Collier back, I'm concerned about ceiling there as well. Yeah, I don't like anything else really in this range.
Yep. So on the Murphy front, in that last game, 29% usage. It's helped. He's up to 25 on the year without Zion and Poole, which I think, again, trending. 25 is a good number, trending in the right direction. Also helps to play with a mini Jokic, which every good passing big gets coined when they start showing signs of like playmaking. That's what Derek Queen has. I think his Wikipedia page or Basketball Reference says like baby Jokic or something. I feel like that's a natural, like, it's unfair to everyone that gets it, but like that's just what happens when you can pass, right? Like you just get the baby Jokic tossed to you, and that's unfair. But Trey Murphy did spend a lot of time after the game talking about how good Derek Queen is as a passer. Sub 7K, Cooper Flagg is here. Colin Sexton, Shaden Sharp, Jaime Jaquez Jr. We'll spend some time there. I assume Allen, Knipple, Keyshawn George, Bain, Laravia. What do we like here, and why do we go right?
Yeah, it's Jaime Jaquez in the best game environment of the night without Bam Adebayo has turned into Bam Adebayo. He's just doing it. He's doing everything,
dude.
Yeah,
he's unbelievable. What it's a weird so far.
Yeah, like out of the rotation at one point last season. Yeah, like his rookie season was incredible. Surprised everyone. It looked like a perfect fit for that organization and what they do. And then last season was what it was, and now he's back to just kind of dominating.
Mr. TD, sorry, I don't feel laggy or anything. I don't know if you feel if it's laggy for you, Keith, but my audio apparently is not synced. I don't know. Sorry if it is for anyone out there. I apologize. I'll work on it throughout this show. But it is Jaquez for me in this tier. Do you think Knipple is appropriately priced, too expensive, too cheap? Like, what's your take on Con Knipple tonight without LaMelo?
I think he is appropriately priced because he's got to make 4 or 5 threes to hit that ceiling that we've seen, and he certainly can do that. We've seen it 3 games in a row now.
Yep.
But there's a world where he only makes 1 or 2 threes and struggles to pay off the salary. So it's not a slam dunk play. I think it's the right price, and I think he has significant ceiling at that price.
Agreed. Great rebounder, by the way. Guy, he could do everything. Let's see. We got Phoenix talking about could get freaky with Mitchell and Edwards and Fox. Holiday guards galore. Sure. He's the price because Utah probably will upset the Wolves. Fizzy Fafax says. That is bold. Take. It is bold. I will say it's a weird spread. 7.5 for this version of Utah after they just lost by 40 is a little weird. I get it. Back-to-back for Minnesota. They didn't even have to play the fourth quarter, though, last night. It was a blowout again. Like, just saying, it's a little weird. Cam the Man says, Grande, the Murphy Sharks were finally rewarded. Well, good. If you played Trey Murphy the other night, good for you. I didn't. So I didn't get rewarded. I played Trey Murphy every slate. He's been terrible. So I'm happy it finally worked out for somebody. Who is the value today? We're about to get there, Mr. James Harden, the real James Harden. We're about to get there. Jalen Hood-Schifino over Jaime Jaquez. Is that who it was? Yeah. Yep. Not great.
That doesn't look great.
Is Bane going to be able to shoot today? Well, let me tell you, I kind of forgot how to shoot.
This is why the people show up right here.
This thing I was supposed to do, I'm not doing. I took 1 last night. It is worth mentioning, like, Jalen Suggs was pretty unbelievable last night. There's no world where Desmond Bane should ever be taking 9 shots and 1 3. They're the worst 3-point shooting team in the league for like multiple years consecutive. And you bring in this thing that shoots 40% year in, year out, and he's taking 1?
Because he's not shooting anywhere near 40% this season.
I know, but it just has to change.
I agree. Is there a better fit for a team that has worked out less spectacularly than this? No. As soon as the trade was made, we're like, wow, like Orlando is probably legit now. And it just hasn't worked at all. Like, we haven't seen it gel together like it's supposed to.
Well, he hasn't made it, like you said, he hasn't made a damn shot like this. But I don't know what happens when you go to Orlando. KCP shot 40% from 3 for 12 years in a row and then went to Orlando and he's the worst player in basketball. And now Bane can't make a shot. I don't understand what happens down there. I lived down there for 6 years and like, I didn't feel anything in the air. It was hot, but like, didn't mean, people can't make shots. Anyways, I don't hate it. Massive pay. Portland is playing so fast this year. Worth mentioning, pretty good usage rate without Jalen Suggs. It's about 23% on the year. We'll get to Jalen Suggs' replacement here in just a second, shooting guard, small forward. But I don't hate the Bane play at 6,100. And James Harden, this is not an attempt. It's just I am Bane. Thank you. Appreciate it. What else do we like here at shooting guard? Because I don't have anything basically that I personally like from Bane until we get to the presumed Orlando point guard tonight, Anthony Black.
Yeah, that's the name that stands out. Cole Anthony maybe is just an off-the-wall one, deep tournament dart, but probably not enough minutes to matter, but some ceiling there if he gets hot.
Yeah, the minutes suck.
Yeah.
Because he was so good yesterday and they didn't play him. But that's kind of Doc Rivers in general. Like, I don't know how to ever trust anything Doc Rivers does, like rotation-wise. Anthony Black has started both games at Suggs, or not started. He's been extended in both games. Jalen Suggs has missed 10-25. He played 30. 10-30. He played 31. Any reason to think he wouldn't get 30 minutes here?
No, I think that's in the cards. It's just is he going to score fantasy points? Because we've seen the routine where he plays 30 minutes and gets 15 fantasy points. So the minutes I think will be there. Will the usage and the fantasy points be there is the question.
It's a valid valid reasoning. The only thing is there's not a lot of good value plays today. I would say that changes if we get a Josh Giddey rule out, because you have the Kevin Huerter $4,800 or Ayo Dosunmu $4,200 plays. One of them would presumably start. I would guess it would be Ayo. Do you have any strong leans? I'd assume it'd be Ayo. Just we've seen him, as they draft, like the Bulls drafted him, and they both have great numbers without Josh Giddey, by the way. So something to monitor as the slate progresses and we find out if Giddey's playing or not. Anything else that we need to talk about? Are you ready to go small forward?
I think we can move it on.
Let's go on to small forward, where a lot of retreads for me. There's not anything that you have to spend up on here either. Like Franz is 78. Of course, you could play Franz Wagner if you want. PJ 74, probably too expensive, especially if Anthony Davis makes his return. DeAndre Hunter feels expensive for a relatively healthy Cavs team. Asar is questionable now. I'd love to play Asar, but it's tough. Where do you want to start? I mean, fortunately for us, we could play like Jaquez and Knipple here.
Yeah, the two guys we talked about are obviously, I think the only new name that is in that tier is Asar Thompson, depending on that questionable tag. The minutes should be secure if he's active. I mean, without Tobias and Stewart, how does he not play 30 plus? Outside of foul trouble, obviously, but
don't knock
on someone.
Yeah, please.
Should find some more usage too. So it's a great spot for Asar if he's able to go. I really like that one.
Agreed there. Not much else to add. We'll just keep going down the list. Herb Jones is getting a lot of ownership today. I don't have any strong Herb Jones takes other than he is awesome to watch because he is the one Pelican that does try on defense. And I hope he's one day freed and gets to go to a team that cares about defense. Any strong conviction on like a pretty popular Herb Jones?
Yeah, I don't love the ownership.
Yeah.
I like the player, and he can sometimes pop off for these bigger usage games when opportunity is available. Haven't quite seen the big usage. Double-digit shots in each of the last two. That's more than his typical volume, but still not elite volume where he's going to find a massive ceiling there. But it could happen. So I understand why he's getting the ownership. I think it's too high of a number for me to get over the field as a multi-entry player, and that's kind of how I look at it. Like, do I really want to play 30% Herb Jones to get leverage on the field? No, I really don't. So I probably end up underweight there.
I labeled him in the playbook that you guys can find at fantasyalarm.com as a cash game play. I think he just fits in cash. If he stays out of foul trouble, he's going to give you high 30s minutes, but he is like a 0.7 fantasy point per minute guy. It's just, those are not fun people to roster necessarily, especially at 5,300. Where else would you go? I mean, another tier of names that I don't really care for. Anthony Black, you could play here. Sadiq Bey is $4,800. He's getting some ownership, slightly less than Herb, and he's cheaper, and they've started him in back-to-back games. Ron Holland is one of the one of the highest owned players of the slate. Like, it's probably just those guys. Is there anyone else that you would even like throw into that collection of players?
Not even another name to throw out, I don't think. Again, Bay's same situation as Jones. I just don't love the ownership there. The Holland ownership I'm completely fine with because I don't see a world where he doesn't play 30 minutes. And the dude shot 3 for 15 in his last game. He is a better player than that. He's going to shoot better than that. There was a bunch of talk in the offseason about how he was working on his three-point shot and it was improving. He's unfortunately shot poorly for most of the season, with it culminating in his first start this season where he just could not make anything.
Right.
But this is a good player. He should absolutely smash this price tag.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, he took a lot of shots. 20% usage rate was not bad. We'll see what else happens. I mean, there is an even higher minute ceiling depending on Asar and Karis LeVert's, status for tonight. If both those guys are out, would you dare click the Javonte Green button?
That is so gross.
If they're both out, this is a situation where 4 rotation pieces are out for Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, he has to be out there in that situation. But again, there's another guy who could go out there and Tony Snell you.
Cardio king tonight, baby. The cardio king tonight for sure.
Yeah. I mean, this is like the extreme version of Herb Jones. Like,
that is, it's true. And old, like much older, like not even like a young version. I guess we should have probably talked Duncan Robinson in that light too, because you could, in that scenario, you might be clicking Duncan Robinson as well.
Yeah, I at least feel good about him taking shots, so I'd be a little bit more comfortable with that. Like, what's Javonte Green's path to 30 fantasy points? I mean,
Amir, Cade Cunningham getting hurt,
yeah,
and then Jalen Duren getting in a fight, and then probably they're just down to like 5 guys at that point, and then that's probably the path. I shouldn't say that because he's gonna have 35 fantasy points tonight, and I'm gonna.
He has he randomly will spike a rebound game, or he'll come up with 5 steals. Like, it's possible. It's just not that likely. And if Asar's rolled out, his ownership's going to go through the roof.
Yes, because it was actually already it's kind of simmered down a little bit, but when they initially put Asar on the injury report, it was uncomfortably high for a little bit. So let's go to power forward. I think this position is one of the harder ones to sift through, mainly because it's another position that is just loaded, 8K and up. You have Giannis probable. Monitor the Giannis probable tag always. We've seen this before, second leg of a back-to-back. Anthony Davis looks like he's expected to return. There were some internal discussions apparently about Davis playing in the Washington game before Patrick Dumont decided to say no. First time he's gotten involved, but we all know why that's the case. Paolo at 93 looking to bounce back. Miles Bridges upgraded to probable. He's obviously a high usage player. We have Mobley in the best game environment on the board. Avdia has looked incredible. Julius Randle's looked incredible. Help me break down this tier, Keith, because it's, again, another just absolutely loaded power forward position today.
Yeah, I wouldn't say no to any single player in this range. I think they are all fantastic. I'm probably not getting to Giannis. Like, I would just play Luka before I got there, even with Reeves back. I think Luka has a better, just the minutes alone. Luka has a chance to play 40 minutes. I don't think Giannis is going to play 35.
Unless it's a cup game.
Yeah.
Giannis loves the cup. Don't crap on the defending champion there, okay?
Fair enough. Anthony Davis, I guess I said I wouldn't not play anyone. I don't think I'm playing Anthony Davis on his first night back if he's in there.
No, calf strain, Anthony Davis. No, dude. No, this is the worst. This is I'm so sad for Anthony Davis for what's gonna happen. He's coming back too quick. I'm just gonna say that.
Oh no. Yeah, we've seen that play out before. Hopefully that is not the case.
I agree.
Bridges, he should have a massive ceiling in this spot. We've also seen him not get there in the spot as well. So I'd prefer to go down to Mobley or Avdia is the one I really like. And Randle, I really like. Randle has been he puts up 50 fantasy points every night. He's been so consistent. Now, part of that was aided because Anthony Edwards is out. Maybe we don't see it as often now that Edwards is back. But, I mean, he was doing it alongside Edwards there for multiple games. So it's Utah. It's a great matchup. Love Julius Randle. Avdia has been a machine. Portland, I think Portland is actually really good.
Same.
I like a lot of pieces that they have there. Drew elevates them to another level as the the lead ball handler and facilitator of that offense. Avdia should be able to smash in this spot. And Markkanen's been really good too. Like it's a loaded range, like you said.
Yeah, Randall, Avdia. Let's see who's getting the ownership here. Randall, Avdia, and that's it in this range getting like any real ownership, which I find interesting. I think the Giannis one is solely based on the lack of value there is, at least like cheap. I think we had a question from Faisal, like, do you have any favorite plays under 4K? I can honestly tell you I don't. As it currently stands, I don't know if you have anything a different opinion. There has not been one that I've been comfortable with playing, and that's mainly the reason why I think both you and I are less bullish on, not that we've both said like Luka and Giannis could go for 80 and it would be the least surprising thing ever. Doesn't mean the value under 4K is going to even come close to a ceiling or even reaching 5x value. So do you have an answer to that? Is there like one particular 4K play you'd want to get to?
No, not that I want to get to. It's the guy I just crapped all over. It's Javonte Green. Is the one who's projecting the best. Like that's how it's not fun out here today under 4K.
Yeah, and that's the fair and balanced build life that we're currently living, I think. John just brought up a point in the chat. Kahlua Ware was downgraded to probable. Not that that's typically a downgrade, but when you are not on the injury report and you show up with a probable designation, I think that's interesting. That also, there's a question that I'll pull up the one before it from Cam the Man when we get there. Yeah, I have no real issue with anyone but Anthony Davis, kind of how you laid it out. I probably wouldn't play Markkanen. Not that I think he's a bad play, but weird. The Collier fit's weird for me because he's such a ball dominant point guard. Sub 5K, Wiggins 68. Or so, did I say 5K? Sub 8K.
Yeah, I was like, man, we skipped the Ranger.
No, I thought about it too. We talked PJ, Wiggins, Grant, Brooks, interesting role. Buzelis, we had a question about Buzelis earlier. Is there anything there, or is this just like let's mosey on down and talk about more interesting things?
You have to touch on Wiggins just because of the game environment, I think. Again, he's a frustrating player to roster because he always underachieves, but there is a ceiling there without Bam.
The price kind of sucks, no? Like it.
I think it's a viable price without Bam.
Without Bam, it's fine.
He's shown 40 twice. Well, 42 and 38 were his two big games without Bam. So I think it's a fair price without Bam.
It's a fair price without Bam. I'll give you that. I will give you the victory on that one. Dylan Brooks. I was about to click Dylan Brooks. We have a question from Phoenix Reeves. That could be a multitude of things. He could be a Phoenix fan. His name could be Phoenix. They could live in Phoenix. They're talking about Dylan Brooks. This could be a completely biased question. But what do you think of Dylan Brooks and the role he has in Phoenix tonight?
What is his price even?
$6,100 on the old DraftKings machine.
Very expensive for Dylan Brooks. He was playing well.
He is playing well. He was.
I guess I'm okay with it. Just looking at what he's done this season, it's a good matchup. I don't know if I completely buy this version of him, but it's a new situation, so maybe I should be quicker to buy in.
I love the conviction was really evident there that you were totally sold on $6,100 Dylan Brooks. I will say that he obviously has played well, and there's no Jalen Green again. So I think
if Jalen Green was back in, I would be completely out on it.
Right.
But without Green, it's viable, I suppose.
We had the Buzelis question earlier. If Buzelis is in foul trouble, where do we go? The safest answer is Patrick Williams would be like, that's the safest one. They could do some crazy 3-guard lineups if Giddey's in with Herter and Io and Trey Jones. Like there's a lot of different directions they'd go. The safest answer there is Patrick Williams. Let's talk Jovic, because that was the question that Cam the Man had. Then we get the Khalil Ware downgrade to probable again. Not necessarily not playing. But Jovic is coming off obviously the best game of his career. He has been this type of playmaker since he entered the NBA. That has never been the inconsistent part of his game. Everything else has been. How do you think it's hard? These things are hard to predict, but it's what we do. How do you project this Miami rotation? Do you think this is a situation where Cleveland takes Allen off the floor and we see Jovic? Do you think this is a situation where they're playing more Khalil Ware? Like, how do you think it all plays out here, Keith?
I think we see, I don't know about 30 minutes for Jovic, but I do think they will try to get Allen off the floor a little bit and go smaller. So I think he's seeing upper 20s minutes. Now, will he have the production that he had in the last game? That's the question.
Right.
I mean, I don't think he's scoring 29 points again.
No.
But I think that he's worth a shot in a large field tournament. Like, he's not going to project well just because none of his rates and anything like that add up to what he did last game. That's not really who he is. Now, the situation without Bam, there's room for somebody to take on that role. Personally, I'm banking on Jaquez being kind of that secondary, like the second unit facilitator, who kind of just does everything and fills the stat sheet. They both did it last night in the last game, so it could happen again. But I like Jaquez as a safer option than Jovic.
Agreed. We've talked about basically everything else. Derek Queen. Any thoughts that Yves Missi is back? Do you think that hurts Queen here? Or do you think Looney's rotation minutes are evaporating?
It has to be, right? Like, how can you possibly play Kevon Looney over Derek Queen at this point?
Yeah, I mean, you finance your future for this guy.
Yeah. And he hasn't done anything wrong. He's been good. He's incredible.
Been good. Yeah, he's been good.
So how do you take minutes away from it at this point?
Tournaments, for sure. Just solely tournaments.
Yep, because he could play 12 minutes. Like, that is within the range of outcomes. But if he plays 24 minutes, he's an awesome per minute producer, and he could still smash, even though the price is coming up. Like, I'm in for sure. There's a ceiling there.
Let's finish this up at center. We have a lot of Paul Reed talk in the chat, so we'll get to Paul Reed when we go down the list. That could be our sub 4K play. That could also just not be something we're interested in. We will reveal that in due time. Would you play Wemby, or are you putting Wemby in the same bucket as Giannis and Luka?
Yeah, he definitely. Again, he could go out and put up 80 points, and you have to have him. But I'm not going to bank on it on this slate, just because it makes roster construction too hard. And then you're giving up some elite 8 and 9K players to build like that. So I don't think it's the type of slate. And I'm as stars and scrubs most of the time, as you will find around in my roster construction. I'm usually trying to get up to those massive ceiling dudes, just because I want the night when they go off and I can just crush the field with them. But I'm not finding a way to do it on this slate.
How much Jalen Duren are you playing? Because he has been one of the best stories in the NBA so far.
Yeah, he's been incredible. I forgot what the exact stat was, but he's on a run of like 20 points and 15 rebounds or something like that. I forget what it was that I saw on Twitter, but he's doing special things. Has taken a massive leap forward, obviously. Has been putting up 50 fantasy points a night. That sounds pretty good to me at 7,700.
Are you with below or above the field? He is currently projected the highest owned center, and he's currently projected the third highest player of the slate.
Yeah, so this NBA chalk is a little bit different than any other sport, because if I think that Jalen Duren's role is at this level that he's going to continue to put up 50 fantasy points. He's way too cheap. And
Correct.
that means that the ownership cannot possibly be high enough. So I'm over the field. Even if he's 40% owned, I'm over the field on Jalen Duren.
That's my exact feeling with De'Aaron Fox.
Yes.
That's my
Anthony
exact
Edwards
take.
as well.
Anthony Edwards, exact take on those three players. I have a couple guys I'm interested here in the mid tier. Alex Sarr, I think, is incredibly interesting, the role that he's played for Washington. Mark Williams has a very interesting role, Sand, Shield, Green, in tournaments. Is there anything else, or those two players, or anything else in the 6K range that catches your eye?
I like Sarr in particular. He's also been very, very good. I know George missed a game in there. Koulibaly was out too, but I mean, just another talented youngster who could be taking a step forward. So I'm in on Sarr for sure.
Massive usage rate, by the way. Massive usage rate.
Yeah. Yep. I think Ware is interesting just because of the game environment. It's obviously a really rough matchup with both Jared Allen and Mobley on the other side, but I mean, it's the game environment, the extreme pace. There's going to be so many rebound chances for him in this spot. Not to mention the additional usage available for Bam. So I'm in on Ware, assuming that the probable tag doesn't get worse by lock.
Please don't.
Yeah, right.
We're gonna have a 90% Nikola Jovic. Nobody needs that. Like, as much as I like Nikola Jovic, we don't need that. Another position I don't have any strong leans on. Yusuf Nurkic has been getting ownership all day. I do think he's pretty interesting. Again, this game, I've said it all show. I don't know why this game has 7.5 in point. Why it's a 7.5 point spread. But Yusuf Nurkic has opened our eyes to, like, oh, this guy can still play 30 minutes a night in a competitive game and is a really good fantasy player. My opinion doesn't change if this game can stay competitive. Like, Yusuf Nurkic is going to probably play 30 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, I think the price is good. I'm not necessarily scared of Rudy Gobert anymore.
Nope.
So I'm fine with that. I don't love the ownership. I'd probably just play him with the field, but yeah, he's definitely in the pool.
Yeah, one of two centers like basically getting all the ownership today. There's like not really centers getting ownership. Another one is Naz Reid. We didn't really talk Naz Reid. He's definitely fine. Definitely has a ceiling. The minutes look like they're trending in the right direction. Hard to predict. Could play Queen here. Jalen Smith has a massive ceiling, as we've talked about. But let's just get to Paul Reed, who is $3,300. There's no if Thompson and Karis LeVert are in, then it's the same rotation. But Paul Reed, I assume, is getting steamed and was getting a bunch of ownership earlier. It's cooled down because people are expecting a blowout. And Paul Reed will be on the floor in that scenario at $3,300. B-ball Paul, 11.5 point spread. What is your stance on Paul Reed in this spot?
If there's ownership here, I'm out. Like
it has dropped substantially. It is down to 5%.
Yeah, I mean I was seeing like 15% earlier in the day. That seems crazy. If it's down to 5%, I'm fine with that. Like to use 2 of my 20 lineups on him, I'm okay with that. But if I have to significantly impact my portfolio, hoping that there's a blowout and he can run into 20 minutes, like that doesn't sound like the correct way to play. Like probably just change your roster construction at that point. Like that's the reason. He's the cheapest viable player basically on the slate. That's why the ownership is coming in.
As of right now, yeah.
Right.
Because there's nothing else you'd even like. Even if you just go as like util, just looking at the sub 4K guys, like I really don't know if there's another one I'd mostly consider right now. Like but I don't even think we need to go there, Keith. It doesn't feel good going there anyway.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it means you're probably fading Luka and Giannis and Wemby on this slate. But just personally, I think that's the correct way to play the slate. Like, I'm not saying that the opposite opinion is wrong, but I would rather not play Javonte Green and Paul Reed to get to Luka or Giannis.
This is the thought.
Yeah.
This is why people are playing Paul Reed. Paul gets the blowout run.
So just to put a tournament hat on for a minute, Jalen Duren is one of the highest rostered players on the slate.
Correct.
I think Ron Holland still could potentially get blowout run as shorthanded as they are, so I won't try to leverage Ron Holland in this spot.
He's also $4,300.
Right, and he could get there in 25 minutes.
Get there in 25 minutes.
Yeah. So, like, if you add in the Duren leverage, like, do not play Duren and Paul Reed together. Please, like, if you are building a tournament lineup and you are trying to make Paul Reed happen, you cannot play Jalen Duren in that lineup.
Right there, Warren. You got your answer. Don't do it. I agree completely.
Because you're banking on that game blowing out and Duren failing because of the blowout.
Yeah, or you're hoping that in 3 quarters, Duren goes for 45 fantasy points, and then Paul Reed gets the entire fourth. Right? That's the only, and that's so hard to like. You're on your hands and knees just praying for Duren for 45 through 3. It's tough life to live. Let's get a core. We'll get a core built. This is going to be a tough one because I think you and I both like the shooting guards. I like Fox. You like Duren probably a little more than I do. Not to say I don't like Duren, but I think you probably are a little higher on him than me. How do you want to approach this? Ant, right? Ant, like, first and foremost.
Yes. And I think Holland is a lock as well.
Holland's a lock. Yes, agreed. Maybe we'll just leave Donnie off this one, even though we don't want to, because I don't know, just based on this, if Donnie is possible. Like, he is. If you're playing.
You can put Javonte Green in there, and then
Javonte Green, and I right now I'm not. We can have that discussion if and when we need to have that discussion. If Asar is out or if Karis LeVert's out, then that discussion changes.
Yes. I will have some Javonte Green if Asar Thompson gets rolled out.
Agreed.
If it's only LeVert, I'm still pretty on the fence about it.
I'll say this. I'll take it one step further, Keith. If those two players, if we were to, it's probably not going to work out like this because the Bulls start an hour later. If everyone for Detroit is ruled out and Giddey is ruled out and we know before lock, I would prefer the Bulls value.
Yes, agreed.
You prefer the Detroit spend ups and the Bulls value. Because Cade and Duren are by themselves and Holland team to themselves. And then you have infinite upside with Bulls because they're losing a guy who averages nearly a triple-double.
Yes.
Okay.
Give me 30% usage.
Yeah, with a 30%. Yeah, with a 30% usage. Give me one more core play for you tonight that we can reasonably build the final 3 roster spots.
Trying to go semi-cheap here.
Asar
is in the conversation. Go ahead.
I was going to say Anthony Black.
Yeah.
Just as a potential option.
Yep, I like it.
Okay.
I mean, I don't like it, but I think he's very viable for the role he's going to play tonight.
This Anthony Black play could become a lot of other things depending on the way that people are ruled in and out.
Like Dosunmu fits in there really nicely if Giddey gets ruled out.
Oh my God, dude!
Or if you can get up to Trey Jones in that situation,
you're playing those guys in a heartbeat over Anthony Black, but he is going to presumably start and play 30 minutes in a pace-up game. So I really don't have much to say if Giddey plays. But we'll leave it there. $5,900 for a power forward and util. You could actually shift Black into your forward spot as well. So you can adjust things. Holland to your power forward spot. I mean, there's plenty of ways to adjust your lineup here. Big shout out to you, Keith, for filling in today. Always love having you on the show. Big salute to everybody in the chat. Thank you for all the questions. We'll be back with the preview show tonight, and we'll be back at 5 again with tomorrow's live stream. We'll catch you guys later. Peace.